welcome to the first Rialta Tech Talk video that you've seen in some time. We had to take a couple years off there, had some things we had to take care of, some health concerns and so forth. Everything going okay, but in the interim, just before that happened, we had a significant breakdown with our 2003 HD. Nothing insurmountable, parts are still available. The problem was that mechanics were scarce and I really can't do that much heavy work underneath the hood anymore. So we did find a good mechanic, and while we're waiting for that to be taken away and properly addressed so we can get it back on the road, I decided to get in and do some modifications. Now, a couple of these modifications were started already before it went down, and we're just completing them up now. But a couple things that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So this is our third Rialta. Well, it's one that we wanted for a long time. It's the 2003 HD. As I said, and we wanted the one that had the full stove and the full oven because, well, when we're out, we like to cook. We like to buy our food, bring it on in. Both my wife and I consider ourselves some pretty decent cooks. So having this was definitely a deal maker for us. Now, we bought this unit out of Virginia. It was in running condition, so we were able to pick it up for a fairly decent price, and then we've been making improvements as we go along. And as all of you know, it takes time, it takes money, and in some cases, it takes a lot of research to find the right stuff. The challenge that people have with cooking inside the RVs is the smell. If you cook sausage tonight, everything in here smells like sausage tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But there's no exhaust. We got this tiny little window here in the back, and maybe we could put a fan back there. Maybe we can. It's kind of close to the flames. So we found a solution, and it's from a manufacturer called Furrion. And they make some pretty nifty stuff that's 12-volt based for recreational vehicles. Now up above, we used to have the microwave in here, but when the microwave went out, we thought to ourselves, well, is there a better way? Is there something we can do a little bit different? Do we really use the microwave that much? Well, probably like many of us, we use it for heating up coffee or heating up leftovers or storing things on our road trips to and from. So we decided that we weren't going to replace it with just a regular microwave, but we'll get to that part later. What we wanted an exhaust. Now, this is an exhaust deck by Furrion, and it is made for RVs. It's based on a 12-volt system, so it wires in directly with the wires that are already back here. And not to waste the outlet that's back there for the microwave, what we decided to do was make a cabinet up top here, take advantage of the fact that we can still have an outlet in here, but use this for the storage for things that are better up here. Now, this works like a heat shield, but we're not going to put anything combustible up here. We're not going to have tiki torch fuel or anything else up here. So it's pretty much coffee cups and other things. So the removal of the microwave was a given. It's not easy to do. What you need to understand is that the way the microwave is installed, there is actually a full metal frame that supports that's inside this. So if you're considering doing something like this, first, either A, have the level of knowledge of Brad, or B, hire somebody to do it. Removal is something that you have to do very carefully because most everything in here, including your cabinets, is with special attachments through the inner skin of your very thick walls on the Rialta. So careful removal is in order first. Making sure that all the electricity is disconnected because, remember, there's an outlet back there that your microwave is plugged into, and there's other little small lines that we have access to for lights and other things. I decided to go with an overhead hinge cabinet with lock-open hinges so that it doesn't get bashed. I put reinforcements inside that connect to the old attachments from the metal frame for the microwave, and I moved the outlet forward. Now, I know this is on a GFCI line because I made sure that it was routed that way, but I also got the one that has the USB chargers in it, so this now becomes more utilitarian. The ductwork on the Furrion actually goes directly out the back. And if I open up this little panel here, hopefully the world doesn't fall on me, okay? What we have is we have a very powerful little 12-volt fan that very effectively is going to work on different speeds, and it's going to immediately draw this up and out. Now remember, it is already heat shielded, so that's good. On the outside, that's where the challenge comes in because we had to align and cut a hole. We didn't want it up in the archway of the roof. We didn't want it too close to the seam. The decision on where to mount this was done with two different things in mind. First off, manufacturer's clearance requirements, number one. And number two, how high up could we go? Now, this does require a bit of skill, because what we did is we had to actually drill through the outside wall, and then using a very, very, very sharp metal combo blade, we had to cut the precise hole into place. And this is a lot of measure, remeasure, measure, remeasure, measure, remeasure, because once you cut that hole, you can't change it. It's in there. Now, one of the things I like about the Furrion, first off, it fits very nicely, but it's very easy to access and clean the filter screen that's here. Now, that's just for large deposits so that you can make sure that you get all the junk out of there. It's easy to get down. It stays up very easily. It also has a light that goes along with it, so you're not losing the light by wiring this in on the 12 volt. What you're doing is you're combining it. Now, I have this area over here where I can put the things like the soap and other things that are in plastic bottles completely away from the heat. I have a little bit more headspace here too, because the microwave comes down a little bit further than this. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm not exactly a short guy. So what we're going to do after we have this all in place, of course, and it's bolted up in, the manufacturer sends instructions on how to mount. The hardware comes with it. The cabinet to mount it to, that was self-designed. But on the outside, we have to put on the actual chute for the exhausting of our sausage smells and other things. What's important to understand, again, is in this particular case, and only in this case, we're going to break Brad's Law. Brad's Law, you never, ever, 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 ever use silicone on the outside of an RV. You always use Dicor, and that is absolutely correct. When I was converting coaches, it's the same thing what we did. But in this particular case, we have to think about fire safety. And with fire safety, the challenge is we are putting hot gases, combustion gases, through this vent. The level of heat is going to be more significant than it normally is. The recommended sealant for putting the exhaust duct on the outside is only with 100% silicone, not with Dicor. Dicor may have some running issues, but more importantly than that, Dicor itself isn't rated for combustion level heat. So we want to make sure that in this case, it's 100% silicone. I'm going to be very quiet on the outside and just get to work on this and show you what I'm doing. In this case, I used 100% clear silicone, but we have to be careful we don't get it anywhere else on the body. Remember, silicone is necessary because of the heat that we're considering. Its viscosity, so it's very thick so that it's going to stay where we need it to. And then, of course, it's going to have a seal that is going to be durable for a very long time. A couple other things to point out, of course, is I'm not quite done with the cabinet. I actually have a finished face coming for this that is going to match the rest of the Formica. This particular piece of material that Winnebago installed is made out of particle board, which is essentially dust. So this is going to get pulled as well, and this is going to get replaced. So it's not complete yet, but it's definitely getting there. So the question comes to mind, where the heck is Alex's microwave? Well, I'm glad you asked. The microwave actually wound up over here on top of the refrigerator. What we did is we took the metal frame that was originally holding it. We did attach it to the top here. We did put in all the heat shielding, and we did make sure that it vents to the outside through the upper. The size of the vent holes, based upon the BTU ratings, if this was running on propane and this was pushing out hot, is more than enough. But we never run our refrigerator on propane. We just choose not to. We're either on 12 volt or we're on shoreline. So we don't really have to worry about that, but we do need this vented out. You'll notice there's a big metal shield around this. Why do I need to vent the microwave? Because this isn't a regular microwave. This is actually made by a company called Contour. And what Contour has done is they've made a convection microwave that actually works like a convection oven in a microwave. It actually has metal racks that come along with it, so you can actually roast a turkey inside if you want. And it does a wonderful job. And as soon as we can get the vehicle running again, we'll be able to demonstrate these things for you. But this is one of the upgrades as well. Again, it's a Contour convection microwave oven. It is built for RVs. It does fall within the load ranges that we have on our panels and our supply. And it works excellent. Something else we're working on is this old, broken hideous air conditioner cover system that's on here. Now, the unit on the roof is still good, and the electronic dials on here are still good, but we did find the replacement. And again, asking me for what the part number is and the source is actually going to be specific to your specific model that you have. Not all the ACs were exact the same, year by year, model by model, different options and so forth. So you need to find the one that's right. So what we did is we actually found a full shield replacement, and it's got the vents on the ends that are fixed, but it also has these little dial down louver vents on the bottom so we can direct air straight down. And in order to make sure that everything fits the way it's supposed to, we take the dials from this one and we wire it in through this cowling that's here, and then that goes up in place and it has all of our controls on it. The beauty of it is it's also a much lower profile. Where this one is about 2.5 inches, this is 1.75 inches. That doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when you're talking about being over 6 foot tall and wanting to travel in my Rialta, that little bit makes a lot of difference on the skull. So let's get outside and let's get that exhaust duct attached. Now remember, not all ducts are made the same. This specific vent has little lock tabs on it so that when you're going down the road, this door cannot blow open. So you do have one more thing to remember, is to make sure that before you hit the road, you put your little locks on there. Be gentle, they are plastic, you don't want to break them. And if you do, there are methods to replace those little things. Also, when you're installing, make sure to keep your torque setting low. Doing it by hand, you can't control the torque on your hand. It's easy to control the torque on an electric screwdriver. So make sure the torque is set low between 1 and 3, as you saw me do here, so that you get the rattle, you know it's not too tight, you're not cracking anything, you just see the silicone squeeze out. And then everything is the way it's supposed to be. So, if you have any questions, as always, just send them to the group, and we'll do our best to answer them in time. So this install was a little more straightforward because in actuality, one of these had been installed already back a little ways, but was severely damaged over the winter. So it required replacement, and the replacement is really quite straightforward. Remember to mask everything off. Make sure you clean off all of your extra silicone before you pull your tape. Make sure you pull your tape wearing rubber gloves, and make sure you don't get any transferred out of here. Now, I have to wait for this to cure up overnight, and then I can go ahead and use my black streak remover around it. I don't want to get any of that in there and risk separating any of the silicone from the two interfaces, so we have a good tight seal. So that's our ROGA Tech Talk video this time around. Episode 14, getting the smells inside, outside. I'm Alex, and for the Realtor Owners Group of America, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next Tech Talk video.